Hi, I'm Kelsey with White Cottage Boutique, here today with another tutorial, this time on how to attach paper with Mod Podge to your wood projects. You can do this for like a custom artwork like I'm doing today, or you can even put it on your furniture to create a custom look. What I've got here is I've just got a poster of a map that I purchased off eBay for about $5. I've got a piece of wood that I'm using to attach it, and then I've got my Mod Podge in a matte finish. I've got a brush to apply the Mod Podge. I've got a glass to just hold down the poster in place. This is just a plastic scraper tool. This is going to be your best friend when you're trying to make sure you get a flat finish without any bubbles. And then also this Krylon finishing spray. The spray is used to create a barrier between the paper and the Mod Podge, so that it doesn't soak up as much of the Mod Podge. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to spray the back of your paper or poster with this spray. And I've already done that. I've already attached this side of the poster, and I'm just going to show you how I attached the second 2/3. I did this in thirds because it's a lot more manageable to do a smaller section. So what the first thing you're going to do, you're going to spray with your Krylon finishing spray all over the entire back of the paper or poster. Then you're going to just position your poster and use like a glass or something to hold it down. Then what we're going to do, I'm actually going to put this around so it's easier for me to work with. You're just going to fold back the poster, and I'm showing you how to do this so that you can see how you can do it in section. You just want to get as close as you can to the edge of where it's attached, and you're going to get a little bit of Mod Podge on your brush, and you're actually going to brush it in the middle first, then just take the extra that's kind of left over and run it in that edge, because you don't want to get too much. You don't want to get like a ball of Mod Podge down in there, because it will create a weird wrinkle in your finish. And then I'm going to spread it out, and you actually want a pretty thin layer of Mod Podge. The biggest mistake I made right off when I started doing this was I put way too much Mod Podge on, and I made my picture super, super wrinkly. And so I figured out after a little while that if you use a lot less, it goes a lot better for you. So I'm just going to do about another third. And you can see it's really well spread out, and then I try to make a somewhat even line over here with the Mod Podge. Okay. Make sure you get every teeny tiny little section of this covered in Mod Podge. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take, I just used like a scrap piece of paper, and you're going to try to dry it out just a little bit. The biggest thing with Mod Podges and paper is getting the perfect timing to put it down right when the Mod Podge is starting to set up, and it's not too wet so that it soaks into the paper. So I'm just going to kind of air it out just a little bit, and then I'm going to lay it down. And I just kind of set it down at first, and then I press into the middle very, very first, because you're going to work from the middle out. So using your scraper tool, start in the middle and push kind of down towards the unfinished section. If you're on your second section like I am, or your third, you're going to push down towards where you don't have any glue, basically. And you're pushing out any bubbles, and you want to kind of go pretty quick over this. Try not to take too much time on one section right off, because you want to get the opportunity to press the whole thing down correctly first. And then you can go back and kind of work on any spots that are left over like I am. And I'm using both hands because you need a little bit of pressure on this to get the bubbles to work their way out. And if you're having like a problem area, you can kind of go back and forth over it. That's not going to hurt it. Okay, so now I've got like 3 bubbles that just won't come out like that with this. So I'm going to take just like, I'm actually using a jacket, just anything to kind of put a barrier between your finger and the poster or the paper so you don't rub it off. And I'm just going to quickly kind of rub those down so that they flatten out. And if you feel like one's just being such a pain, just keep rubbing, and usually if you rub, you know, long enough, it will eventually stick down. This is the biggest reason you want to use this right off as fast as you can, because if you end up with a pocket in the middle, like I have here, it can be a pain to work out. So I just kind of keep rubbing at it until it starts to stick. There you go. And you kind of have to look at it at an angle so that you can see and get some good light where you're working, so you can see any imperfections and you can rub them out before it dries. The nicest thing about this tool is that it makes it so that you really only have a couple bubbles to rub out. And it goes much, much faster than if you try to just do it with your hand, which you can do. You'll just have, it'll take you a little bit longer, but. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to do the next section here real quick. I kind of like to just make sure it's dry before I go on to the next section, but usually by the time I'm done rubbing anything out, it's pretty much dry. Got this one bubble here that just, it's not very big. It's not like staying down. Okay, so next section, I put this glass here just to kind of tell me where the end is so I don't rip it up. We're just going to do the same thing. It's actually doing really well. Don't sit and work with it for a little while. If you feel like it's flat, don't walk away right off, because a lot of the times it might not just be dry enough yet. You'll end up with, you'll come back and it'll be all wrinkly. So you want to just make sure, if it looks really good like mine does, stay and maybe work on some smaller imperfections you don't like until you're sure that it is dry. And I accidentally spilled glue right here. You probably can't see it in your picture, but or in the video camera, but there's like a little imperfection here and right here. What I'm actually going to do about that is I'm going to use stain around the edges, around like the wood edges, and then I'm going to kind of push it into the middle to make it look a little bit distressed and rustic. maybe kind of sloppy, and that will kind of cover that up. I'm feeling really good about how this looks. So yeah, I think I'm done. I just kind of will stick around for a little bit, make sure that no bubbles pop up in the next, 2 or 3 minutes. But other than that, you should be good.